It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when my wife told me she was bored with our marriage. Not angry, not emotional, just bored. We were sitting at the kitchen table in our home outside Denver, the same house we'd lived in for nearly 20 years. Sunlight was coming through the window, hitting the wedding photo on the wall behind her. She had her coffee in both hands, staring down into it like she was discussing the weather. "I think we should open the marriage," she said finally. "I need more excitement in my life." For a moment, I honestly thought I'd misheard her. After 2 decades together, 2 kids raised, mortgages paid, holidays spent with both families, this was not a conversation I ever imagined we'd be having. If you believe loyalty still matters, stay with me, and tell me in the comments what would you have done. I didn't react right away, not because I didn't feel anything, but because I felt too much all at once. Shock, confusion, something colder underneath it all, but I kept my voice calm. "Excitement," I repeated slowly. "What does that mean?" She shrugged, still not looking at me. "Something new, something different. I feel like I missed out on life. We got married young. I want to experience things before it's too late." But that wasn't the worst part. She said it like she was asking to repaint the living room. Casual, practical, already decided, like our marriage was just another outdated appliance she was ready to replace. I studied her face, trying to find some trace of the woman I married. The woman who used to hold my hand during long drives. The woman who cried when our first child was born. But in that moment, she looked like a stranger rehearsing a speech. "Are you seeing someone?" I asked. She hesitated just for a second, but it was enough. "No," she said, "I just want the option." She thought I didn't notice. She thought I didn't know. But I had seen the late-night texts, the sudden interest in the gym, the way she angled her phone away from me. I hadn't said anything because part of me hoped I was wrong. I was. I leaned back in my chair, and if I say no. That's when she finally looked at me, eyes steady. "Then I don't know if I can stay in this marriage." There it was, not a request, an ultimatum. What happened next changed everything. I nodded slowly like I was considering it. Inside, something had already shut down, not anger, not rage, just clarity. "So let me get this straight," I said. "You want to date other people while staying married to me?" "It wouldn't change what we have," she insisted quickly. "You'd still be my partner, my home." My home, not my husband, not my love. My home, a place to return to after chasing excitement elsewhere. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't slam the table. I just stood up and walked to the hallway closet. "What are you doing?" she asked, confusion creeping in. I pulled out my suitcase. That's when the calm left her face. "Wait, what are you doing?" "You said you're bored," I replied, setting the suitcase on the table. "I'm solving that problem." Her eyes widened. "I didn't say I wanted a divorce." "You didn't have to." She started shaking her head, panic rising. "You're overreacting. People do this all the time now. It doesn't mean we don't love each other." I zipped open the suitcase. "Love doesn't need backup options." She stood up abruptly. "You're being unreasonable." "No," I said quietly, "I'm being clear." For the first time, her voice cracked. "So you just throw everything away, 20 years? I looked at her, really looked at her. "You threw it away the moment you decided I wasn't enough." Silence filled the kitchen. Then came the anger. "You know what?" she snapped. "Maybe I should have done this years ago, maybe I settled." The words hit harder than anything else she'd said. Not because they hurt, but because they confirmed something I hadn't wanted to admit. She wasn't confused. She wasn't struggling. She had already rewritten our history to justify leaving. I kept packing. "You'll regret this," she said, her voice sharp now. "You won't find someone else at your age." I paused for just a second. Not because I believed her, but because I realized she did. That's when I said the one thing that ended it for good. I'd rather be alone with dignity than married without respect. She had no response to that. I carried the suitcase to the door. She didn't try to stop me this time. She just stood there, arms wrapped around herself like the reality was finally settling in. "You're really leaving?" she asked quietly. I nodded. "You wanted something new, now you have it." I walked out to my car without looking back. That night I checked into a small extended stay hotel. Nothing fancy, just clean and quiet. For the first time in years, I slept without tension in my chest. No wondering who she was texting, no pretending everything was fine. Over the next few weeks, her messages started coming. At first angry, then pleading, then apologetic. "I didn't think you'd actually leave. I just wanted to feel desired. We can fix this." But I didn't respond, not because I wanted to punish her, but because there was nothing left to discuss. You can't negotiate respect once it's gone. Friends told me she started dating almost immediately. then stopped. Apparently, the excitement she imagined wasn't what she expected. Turns out, being single in your 50s isn't the glamorous adventure social media makes it look like. Months later, I heard she had sold the house, moved into a smaller condo across town, alone. Meanwhile, my life got quieter, simpler, better. I reconnected with old friends, started traveling again, rediscovered hobbies I'd abandoned years ago. Slowly, I began to feel like myself, not as someone's safety net, but as a person. People sometimes ask if I miss her. I miss the life we planned, not the reality we ended up living. That Sunday afternoon didn't just end my marriage. It exposed a truth I didn't want to see, that staying with someone who sees you as optional is its own kind of loneliness. She wanted excitement. What she got was freedom. And what I got was peace. If there's one thing I learned, it's this: boredom doesn't destroy a marriage, disrespect does. And the moment someone tells you they need other people to feel alive, they're also telling you that your love is no longer enough. Walking away wasn't the hardest thing I've ever done. Staying would have been. Sometimes the most powerful answer isn't a speech, an argument, or revenge. Sometimes it's simply closing the door and never looking back.